Welcome to your lifestyle adjustments video. My name is Coach Julian, and what I'm going to try to go over are all the different ways that we can change our little everyday moments to better encourage more mobility in our body. Now, one of the first concepts I like to bring our mind to are the 23 other hours. Now, a lot of us spend one dedicated hour every day during the gym, doing mobility work, doing something intentional to bring better feeling and better movement into our bodies. We do need to consider that there are 23 other hours during the day, all of which are having a real and significant impact on our mobility. So this video is meant to bring our attention to those 23 other hours and how we can best adjust them to be in service of higher mobility and higher health. Now, something that I'd like to share before I jump into the more passive ways of increasing our mobility throughout longer periods of time is a really important practice, which is morning movement. And it's not a groundbreaking idea, but the way that we do it has a really big impact on the relationship that we create with our body. I've found that the most valuable and productive time that I've spent with my body is right away in the morning. Ideally, the only things I need to do before I go and move my body in an intentional way are use the restroom and hydrate myself. The best way to do this is to leave out any looking at social media, emails, messages, sometimes even talking to anybody else. We would really like to engage in some intentional movement with our body with as clean a slate as possible. This leaves space in our mind and in our nervous system to be listening and understanding to the signals that our body sends us while we move with it. Now, I suggest this morning movement is extremely simple, not very long, and really gentle. We do not want to set ourselves up for some kind of intimidating, explosive sequence. That's going to make it hard to create a habit out of it. One of the non-negotiable foundations of my personal movement practice is resting and spending time on the ground. The ground is super important. The ground, this flat, firm, large, spacious expanse, was where we all first learned to move our bodies as infants and as children. If you think about a baby's crib, it's just flat and open. There's no pillows or anything. It's just laying out. When we're babies, we like to lay on our stomachs. Boom, like this, spend a lot of time here. We learn to move our bodies. We learn to crawl around. The ground helps our spine decompress. The ground helps us learn how to use our environment to move around. And you may notice if I sit in one position for a long time, my muscles will fatigue and will ask that I move to a different position and will ask that I move to a different position. This constant changing over time, you can imagine many hours, someone's going to be moving their body a lot more than they otherwise would sitting in your typical lazy boy couch that turns off all the muscles in your body and lets the couch do all the work. There are a lot of ways that we can use the ground even if we need to be productive. We could spend time reading, calling somebody, answering emails, doing work, or simply just using it as a place to rest and relax. It's a fantastic way to decompress the spine and to encourage a lot more mobility in your everyday life. It's really important that we curate our environment to encourage that movement and encourage that lifestyle. This means making it easy, this means making it accessible, and making it inviting. Notice that I have this nice soft blanket on the ground here, so that way my knees and my ankles don't have to be on this hard surface. It's the same thing if you're in a house with tile or hardwood floors. It's not going to be a very inviting space to spend time on the ground. I highly suggest putting down a blanket, putting down a nice cushy rug, putting down pillows, and just making a place that feels cozy, that feels inviting, that feels like you could crawl and roll around on it if you really wanted to. Not only do we want to make the ground a nice, soft, inviting place, but we want our space for movement to also be inviting. Personally, and I'm sure many of you can agree, I don't like moving around in a cramped space if I feel like I'm going to hit a bookshelf or I'm going to hit a counter or a couch or something. This could mean taking your furniture and moving it out of the way and creating a nice big open expanse in your living room. This could mean having a dedicated room in your house that is spacious and free from furniture to allow you to move your body freely within the confines of the room. A great analogy would be if you have ever seen a jiu-jitsu gym where they have a nice soft padded ground and it's just open and flat. It's a fantastic space to explore your movement, to stretch, and to feel unconstricted. The next point I'd like to talk about are shoes. And this is because most of us are spending most of our day, every day of the week, in shoes. Whether we're at work, we're at school, we're doing something casual, we've got shoes on our feet. Now, we've been wearing shoes since we were very, very young, and most of us have been put in shoes that are extremely constricting to the shape of the foot. Now, this pressure closing off the foot over time is going to compound. It's going to atrophy the muscles in our foot. It's going to weaken the muscles in our foot, and it's going to lead to a bunch of domino effects down the chain and later on in life that are not going to be very helpful to our overall mobility. With me, I have two of my favorite shoes right now. These are the Strand ATRs from Paluva. They are a shoe that has little toe segments. So when my foot's in here, it helps spread my toes out. Not forcefully, but it doesn't have this constricting force that squishes them on the inside. That's one of my favorite things about them. They're extremely lightweight and bendable. And they have something called zero drop, which means that the distance from the ground that your heel has to where your forefoot has is exactly the same. There's zero difference between the drop. Most shoes that are on the market today, the heel is going to be higher up. This has a bunch of implications, but basically what it does every day is it shortens the chain of length along the back side of your body. So if we've been wearing shoes with a heel rise for many, many years and shoes that have been squeezing our toes together, then we are constricting the muscles of our foot and we're also shortening the chain on the backs of our bodies. Another one of my favorites are these really simple sandals called Earth Runners. They are really, really simple, super bendy, flexible, quite thin. They got a bit of grip on the bottom that I've worn away from wearing them so much because I enjoy them. But they do a great job of leaving the foot tons of room to spread and splay. And again, zero drop, so that way there's no heel rise and you can have a very bendy, moldable, mobile foot. I would encourage that if your feet are sensitive and you're just getting into the idea of mobilizing them, take it really slow. A barefoot shoe or walking barefoot too much can be way too overstimulating for a foot that's been constricted for a long time. So if you need support, if you need suggestions, or if you need help in gradually moving your way towards a more natural barefoot lifestyle, then please contact a coach, contact me, contact somebody that knows what they're talking about and has maybe gone through the same process. The last concept for everyday adjustments that we can make to free our body is respecting the rhythm of our body. And I touched on this earlier in the video about how in the morning time, we really want to respect the gentleness and the slowness of the morning and have that reflect in our movement practice. As the day ramps up, the internal body temperature rises, energy rises, then we can get into some more explosive movement. As the day winds down, the sun starts to set and it becomes sleepy time. Again, respecting the rhythm, allowing ourselves to enjoy some gentle movement. And not just that, but being aware of what kind of stimulus we're exposing ourselves to and how that's influencing our nervous system. These have been my personal favorite lifestyle adjustments that I found super enjoyable, effective, achievable, and easy to integrate. This has been Coach Julian. I look forward to seeing you on the next video.